Boys, it's been a really long week, but I thought I'd take some time out at the end of the week here to share with you just a thought I've been having about something that not everybody who's listening to this video will be able to do, but certainly some of us may be able to act upon. And it's something that's been on my mind for a while, and I'm talking about how we utilize our legacies. Or should I say, how we don't utilize our legacies. One of the reasons why many groups, especially if you're based in the UK or in the US, you may look and see groups around you that just appear so far ahead of us. And one of the reasons why they are ahead of us is, you can factor in racism, but it's also their utilization of their legacies. And because very often in countries like the US and the UK, there was a concerted effort to clamp down on our ability to build legacies. We all know about Rosewood. We all know what happened to the Black Wall Street. We know all what happened to that. We know about redlining in the US that really stopped us having good properties and getting good property values. But what we forget is that we have to start building from somewhere. And so all of those things took place and they're real. So if I take a reference of somewhere like Jamaica, for example, what I know is that there are a lot of people listening to this message who they live in Canada, they live in the US, they live in the UK, they live all over the world, but their family have land or houses back in places like Jamaica, Grenada, St. Lucia, Trinidad, wherever. And very often on the African continent as well. But I'm focusing today on the Caribbean. And I'm going to focus even tighter on Jamaica because I think I have the right to speak with some authority about Jamaica. And so we have these parcels of land, whether they're occupied or not is irrelevant. But the fact is they exist. And our ancestors broke their backs to get those bits of property. Yeah, let's make no mistake. After slavery ended, they had nothing. And most cases were forced to go back to work, very much under the same conditions. But yet somehow, they got land. And they got these parcels of land dotted all over our islands. And I know for sure, all over places like Jamaica. And that must have been a Herculean effort for them to end up having land. And I just think it's a bit of a shame that when we're thinking about lifting ourselves up, us here in the UK or in Canada, US, doesn't matter, we don't think about utilizing that legacy in the Caribbean islands. Not all of us, I know, but a lot of us don't think about utilizing that legacy. Now, I know what some people are saying, like I said, I'm from Jamaica, so I know one of the first things that pops into people's head when you talk about suggesting to go back to somewhere like Jamaica as essentially a black British person and to say, look, this land is here sitting idle, we're going to do something with it. People start thinking about violence, people are thinking about death, people start thinking about robbery and who's going to rob who and all of that. Well, I'm here to say this to you. Yeah, many cases that's true. But you guys have a duty to your ancestors, to the people who went from absolute zero to make sure that someone in your family had that under their name. You have a duty to them to give it a try. Yeah, let's be crystal clear. A lot of the stories about violence, about family cheating family, they're true. But guess what? That's universal. Yep. That's a universal thing. And we have to get over it. And we have to start to think harder. Because guess what? Not all of our families are like that. Not all of our families are going to bring down doom and gloom on us. Not all of our environments are that rough. And I'd like to suggest that it would be a great starting place when you think about your kids and your grandkids to be going back to the countries where your ancestors slaved, literally, to achieve these bits of land and do something with it. That's your legacy. Why is it that we are always starting from zero? Why? When we have lots and lots of land back in the Caribbean, in Africa, and we're just letting it go. And let me explain to you. On my many trips to Jamaica, what I see consistently are people not like us who turn up in these countries. They don't know anyone and they're making a go of it because they see the potential that often we don't see, or we are so afraid to try and embrace. Now look, I want to repeat this, and I've said it several times. I know this is not for everyone. I know this doesn't pertain to everyone. But I'm appealing to those of you who do actually, A, have the land, have the facilities, and have the bottle to go back to these countries where your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers, your great-great-great-grandfathers left you this legacy and make it work. And I want to say something special to the people who are there. And I'm going to speak to the Jamaican people then, because I want to talk to direct. When you see black man come from somewhere like England, you need to understand, say, it's a whole heap of struggle. Them put in a foreign country for come down and can spend their money. And if you see them come down and them come spend their money, your duty is to help them, not hinder them. You understand what I say? Because the legacy that they're coming to build is a legacy that can build something for all of us. Yeah? Now, you don't have to get on with me 100%. But what we have to do, we have to try and make this work. Not just for the people on the ground, but for our children and our grandchildren. Our children don't have to all be starting from scratch again. And that's what seems to be happening. Every generation seems to be starting from scratch. One last thing. Start to think of the property that you're in as your child's legacy. Resist the temptation to keep buying and selling, moving, buying and selling. If you're buying, make sure you have a cut-off point. Because even when you take out the equity, you end up repaying. Make sure that you're handing over properties to your children that are debt-free. Educate your children in terms of how to handle those debt-free properties when they get it. Don't be so eager to push them out and say, start on your own. Because that's why we're in the situation we're in. Because every generation have started on their own. And one final word. Get a will. Do not let the state take your hard work and put it back into the Duchy of Cornwall. Look guys, we have a legacy. Let's build on it. If not for our sakes, then certainly for our grandchildren and their grandchildren's sake. Thank you.